Hello.
How you doing?
How are you finally?
Yeah, it's great to be here. Absolutely.
Awesome. So this is my wonderful friend Al. Hi, Lourdes. There's somebody checking in.
Hey, Lourdes. How you doing?
So my name is Taryn, for those of you that are watching that don't know. And I run Paranormal Brew. And weekly guest. And this week, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Al Santariga. I hope I said that right, because I can never spell it right.
You said it awesome.
Unless I'm looking at it for some reason.
Okay.
Matt from SRS Paranormal checking in. He's who I was with in Gettysburg this weekend when we were doing our investigation. So that was cool.
Awesome.
So I know we're a little late, but we're here. Al, thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
This week, I added a new platform, and I'm now streaming also on Inner Demon Media. So you'll be on my YouTube, the other Facebook, my other or my Paranormal Brew page, BB3 TV, and then now Inner Demon Media, which is awesome. So let's see. So everybody's saying hi. There's a lot of people checking in already. So for anybody that does not know about you, Al, you are very, very widely, you've researched a little bit of everything in the paranormal field. So I just want to get everybody to where we're at now. So if you could just start it, maybe when you first got into the paranormal, did you grow up in a haunted house? And then we'll get to where we're at now.
Okay. Here's my short bio. My mom was, she would get premonitions. She always got premonitions, and she would talk in her sleep all night long. People would come to her in her sleep, and she would talk all night long. My brother's a parapsychologist. He was, when I was a kid, he was a ghost hunter working with Hans Holzer's right-hand man. He was like, and they actually used Hans Holzer's psychic on a couple of their investigations as well. So growing up, we had books in my house on everything, you name it, we had it. So I was reading everything as I was growing up, and always had gut feelings, never claimed to be a psychic in it by any stretch of the imagination, just gut feelings. And I had a lot of strange encounters. I found a lot of dead people as a kid. I don't know why,
What do you mean? Like you found dead people? Like you were like walking through the woods and tripped over?
Yeah, people was just like people who OD'd or were murdered and stuff like that. I always stumbled across them. You know what I mean? So,
really?
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. Yeah,
I feel like, did you ever see Hangover when they go in the kitchen and they open, they're like, a baby? Like, and then Alan later on is like, I found a baby before. Like, it's nothing. And you're like, yeah, I just find dead people all over the place just walking around.
Yeah, no, we I don't know what it is. We just stumbled across them, in my youth. And I had my first UFO sighting at 10. I had my first Bigfoot experience at 12.
Wow.
And, just my aunt was a white witch, and over the years, she had to take a couple evil eyes off me that people put on me and stuff,
Wow.
Yeah. And so it's in my family. My uncles and my aunts were always into seances and stuff like that, I don't remember him playing with Ouija boards or anything like that, but I remember a lot of candles and seances and stuff, and always being in the background watching. And so I thought that stuff was just normal. You know what I mean? I grew up with all this paranormal activity around me, and I just thought it was normal. And I thought all my friends experienced it, like the shit I experienced, until I
So
started talking to them about it. And they were like,
yeah,
dude, that's not normal.
yeah, I was gonna say like how I mean, so did you have training by anybody, or did you just kind of like since you were young and you just because it sounds like you were pretty you sound so nonchalant about it, like you felt comfortable with everything. I mean, I know I'm sure with the
Oh,
first time you saw Bigfoot, you're probably scared as hell. Like what the heck
oh
is
yeah, I
that?
was scared. Yeah, I was scared to death. But when you grow up in a house or a family that's into the paranormal or practice white magic and stuff like that, um, everything just seems normal. Like you don't realize that not everybody's family does all this stuff that your family is doing.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, that's why I'm so nonchalant about it. Like and I said, as I started hanging out, I went from an all Italian neighborhood to an all Irish neighborhood. So I did a lot of fighting when I first moved there. But once we got in and I became good friends with a lot of the guys, and I told those, I started talking to my best friends about it. They were like, "Dude, that's not normal, man. That's crazy," And I mean, like I said, my first UFO experience. Me and my best friend Richie were hanging out on my father's A-frame roof. He had a garage. It was A-frame roof. We had a nice yard with a grapevine around it and everything. So me and Richie are up on the roof and we're sky watching. He's sleeping over my house. We're like 10 years old, and we're listening to the local rock station coming out of New York City. And he's looking left, I'm looking right, and then we see like these 3 points of light doing like this aerobatic stuff up in the sky. It's like these maneuvers that just there's no way planes could do it. So I said to him, "Hey, Rich, check this out." And I jumped off the roof of the garage. I went in my father's garage. I got this giant spotlight that he used to use for crabbing when he went down to the Jersey, the Tom's River crabbing. And so I'm up on the roof and I'm doing this Morse code, and these 3 balls of light just stop dead in the sky. And then Rich says, "Let me try," and he does it, and I do it back, and then I do it, and they do it back again, and then hey Abe, and then I do it again, and one of the balls of light just drops straight out of the sky from like looks like a star at one point, and then the next thing is just above the local air traffic, coming out of the city, and it's like right there. And we thought, we were going to get abducted at that point, and we jumped off the roof and ran into my bedroom and hid under the bed. You know what I mean? My father
Yeah, I
had
would.
to drag us out by our feet at the end of the night.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, and I, and ever since then, I've like when I'm driving, I see a lot of UFOs. Okay, and when I'm driving and I see a light in the sky, um, I'm not one of those guys who think everything he sees in the sky is a UFO.
Right.
I get a vibe, like something will say, "Hey, pay attention to this. This is important," and then I'll start looking at it and I'll start paying attention to it. But if it's just the light flickering in the sky and I don't get that vibe, then I just keep driving.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but I mean, go
so
ahead.
you're very intuitive as well, right? So it's like
Yeah,
what,
a
what,
lot of people have said I'm very intuitive. Yeah, a lot
well,
of
you would have to
psychics.
be, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
I go looking for stuff and I can't even I mean, I'm like right near the Pine Barrens in Jersey. I can't even come across a dead body or a spirit one or a Bigfoot. Like you're just like.
Well, come up here. We got a hot spot. I'll take you out squatching.
Oh, so where are you from?
Where I'm up in Dutchess County, upstate New York.
Okay. So you're
Yeah,
up. Okay,
I'm like
cool.
an hour and a half north of Manhattan.
We have a question, which I was getting to. So here, he said, Joe Carruthers, what's the craziest stuff you saw? I guess the UFO thing, or
Really the craziest thing I seen, and I know I seen a lot of crazy stuff. I would say the craziest thing I seen is what people nowadays call the rake. I call it like a ghoul. Back in the old days, we called them ghouls. There's this thing that they call the rake now. It's
I
like,
have not heard of this.
oh, it's white. It's like white, ash white. It's real skinny.
Oh, is it
It's
the thing that they saw that they show and it walks really like almost like a clothespin, like a clothespin?
No. This thing is
Oh,
creepy. It's like it's got this little round head, and usually it's on all fours crawling, and it's like arms and elbows and knees and stuff. And that really, I had to do a double take on that. You know what I mean? That was pretty strange.
So it's Rake.
That's what they call it now. Back when, I was young, that we called it a ghoul. But
wow. I mean, I thought a ghoul was just like another, like, I thought it was like a play TV made up word for like either a ghost or like Slimer, if you will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I never thought it had anything to do with anything. Is that considered like a cryptid? Or
honest to God, I don't know what the hell. To me, it looked alien. To be honest with you, but it could be a cryptid. I don't know. It was creeping up on a herd of deer in the pasture when I seen it, and man, I had to do a double take. I was like, "What the hell is?" I knew what it was, but I always question everything I see. Yeah, and I was like, "What the hell was that?" And I don't tell a lot of people. I'll call my partner Brian up. You got to get Brian on your show. You'll love Brian. And I call him up and I run it by him, and he's like, "Oh, you got to go back. You got to do this. You got to do that." And I do. I always end up going back and looking for tracks and stuff like that. But
So, oh wow. So where did you saw this, like in New York? Like, you see these things mostly like around where you live?
Yeah, I seen it on a parkway going to work one morning. Yeah.
So there's two questions. First, one is, did you see A Quiet Place?
Yes.
Somebody's asking, is the rake what's in A Quiet Place?
Yeah, kind of looks like that. Yeah.
I'll have to look this up because now I'm going to be scared. They are skinny and sometimes transparent, I have heard.
Not transparent. I would say translucent. Like they're white, ash white. You know what I mean? You can't see through them.
Yes, he has saw Bigfoot.
Yeah.
You have seen a rake. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean it was creepy. It was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. This is crazy because I've never even heard of it. Like I said, like the closest thing I can compare it to is on what is that? Paranormal Caught on Camera. They had a video of this thing that looked like a clothespin.
Yeah, I know what you're
talking about. Walking across, and I said, "What is that?" Like that would freak me out. But this actually doesn't look like like, does it look like?
It looks human. It looks like a human form. Okay. But I would say if it stood up straight, it would be 7 feet tall, because when I seen it, it was on all fours and it was like creeping through the high grass, headed towards a bunch of deer that were just grazing in the pasture early in the morning when I was going to work. Yeah.
So it wasn't bothering the deer. It was just kind of.
I think it was hunting them. That's what I think it was doing. Yeah. I went back that day to look for like a blood trail or something, but it was raining cats and dogs. So by the time I got back there, I didn't see any tracks from anything, and I didn't see any blood trail or anything like that, so.
All right. So it's got to be something. It's almost like maybe it's an albino Bigfoot.
No, I seen an albino Bigfoot. That was pretty crazy too.
Wait, they exist?
Yeah, they do.
I was
yeah.
Kidding.
No, I swear to God, it was the craziest thing. Yeah, never in my wildest imagination did I ever think I would see a white Sasquatch. But I did like 2 winters ago, I think it was. Now, yeah, our last winter, I don't remember. I think it was 2 winters ago. 2 winters ago.
So somebody just said, Alfred, explain the entity on the video you took in the old woman's bedroom.
Oh, that's my man, Mike. Yeah, that thing was crazy. We work in a case out of North Carolina of an old lady. She's this very sick old lady, and people bought this house, and they put her in this bedroom because this was like the master bedroom, and it had its own bathroom and the whole 9 yards. And she started getting injured. She was being beat up and all this other stuff. And so these people started filming it and they asked for help. So one of my friends from another team said, I'll reach out to Al for you. And I got in contact with her, and she, they sent us a lot of video of orbs coming out of closets and stuff like that. But there's this one creepy video where you see, and not a lot of people catch it when they see it, but to the right of the old lady, in between the bathroom and her bed, you see like almost like a pixelation on the floor. And the camera is motion sensitive, so it picks up motion. So the camera must have picked up. Hey, Rich, the camera must have picked up the motion of this thing coming up out of the floor. So you see the pixelation, then you see the back of it looks like a person's head going in, like in a closet or a doorway or something, and then this thing turns around, and this is crazy. I'll send you the video if you want. It's gonna blow your mind. This thing turns around.
I would love to see it.
This thing turns around, peeks out, and looks at the camera and smiles, a creepy smile. And the crazy thing about it is that this entity has eye shine.
Oh,
crazy.
Wow.
I never heard of an entity having eye shine, but I started asking around to a lot of people I know that's in the field, and a lot of them said, that there are entities that do retain eye shine. I was like, okay, that's never heard of that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was creepy, Mike.
Yeah, hold on a second. My computer. Let me close this thing here. What the heck? Oh, so I agree with Todd here. To see all these things, you're either blessed or cursed. I mean, how do you look at it? I mean, honestly, like it. Somebody say, like, do you consider it a blessing? Can you?
Honestly, I don't consider it either or.
Do you? Because it doesn't sound like you have to. Like me, I'm going to Selma Mansion this weekend to investigate. So like I got to get all my stuff together. Meeting people there. We're doing this, investigation for all night long. But it doesn't even sound like you have to do that. Like you can just step out in your backyard.
Yeah, I have stuff happening in my backyard too, but that's a whole different story. No, I don't consider it either or. I just consider it, what I am. What it is. I don't know. We've ran our family history back. We did that roots type thing, and turns out that our family is an original family from Rome, and there were some Roman high-ranking officials with our family name and my last name in Italian. It means holy line.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was named after my grandfather, which means like royal blood. So my first name means royal blood, and my last name means holy line. And we did. I can't talk about this much, but we did something for the Travel Channel in the fall, and they took my blood type, and it was RH negative. So, I mean,
wow.
And that's supposed to be like an alien blood type. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah.
So there's a couple questions and comments.
Okay.
Project Paranormal said eye shine would mean it's a flesh and blood creature, though, with a question mark. And then they also said that eye shine is only from animals that are nocturnal, correct? Because I know that he said that's why we don't have eye shine. We do have like red eye, but I don't know if that's the same thing.
Yeah, well, like I said, I talk to people who I consider to be experts in the field, psychics and mediums, and people who have a lot more knowledge than me. And they said, yes, that there are certain entities that do retain eye shine. Because that's what we thought. When we first seen it, we looked at it, we'd say, well, it looks like somebody just peeking out, or, a person. But if you see the video, you could see that the shape of the head and all of that stuff is not normal. Yeah, it's not normal. But
Joe said he said he needs to chill with you because he needs to see some of these things. Disembodied Nephilim, I don't know if I'm saying that right or wrong, have red eye shine.
Yeah, Abe thinks everything's a Nephilim.
I've never even heard that word either.
I'm just busting your chops, Abe.
He says, what do you do to protect yourself?
Hey, Rich.
Because because you got to protect. I mean, I'm not an investigator of aliens. I don't investigate Bigfoot. I'm strictly Casper. Maybe, on that level. Like I don't go past. I don't go into the negative stuff or anything like that. I do send those off to trusted people that I work with, peers and stuff like that. But I only got to worry about one thing, and I don't know if you have to do that as well when you go out for other stuff.
Well, we protect. We always before we even go out, and this is something that's really important. People, when even if you're going out into the woods squatching, or you're going to do a C5 to try to bring aliens in, you know what I mean? You should always protect yourself physically and spiritually before you go into anywhere, because there's a lot of stuff out in the woods. We've seen a lot of stuff out in the woods. We got a couple of places of high strangeness that all kinds of shit comes through, and we've seen it all. And you have to protect yourself. We got EVPs that just blow your mind. So you have to protect yourself spiritually. I say a white prayer. I wear a cross, a St. Benedictine cross that's been blessed. I sage before, I sage after. I sage all my equipment because I'm using the equipment to capture, evidence. So I sage my equipment so nothing attaches itself to my equipment. We protect and protect and protect. I go above and beyond when it comes to protecting.
And as you should. And nobody should ever go alone. I always say that.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that these things can detect certain blood types? For instance, O, Rh negative, and are attracted to them. So if you have like this odd blood,
you know what? I would have to say yes to the aliens thing, the alien side of things. I don't know about the cryptid or the spiritual side of stuff. If the blood type has anything to do with it. I think it's more of your energy, your frequency, your vibration, your aura, stuff like that attracts things to you.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I mean, look at mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are attracted to a certain type of blood type. Let me see. Holy lion or line. I think he's
line, like a straight line.
Not sure I follow the disembodied reference. The disembodied Nephil, whatever that. I don't know that was.
Yeah. No, Nephilim is a fallen. It's a fallen angel, a watcher. One of the watchers that came down for God, and then they were cast down. It's a biblical thing. You have to be into the Bible to understand that.
He said, "I saw spirits with red eye shine."
Yeah, well, that may have been a demon. I don't deal with anything, and that's above my pay grade when it comes to dark stuff like that. I pass it off. I got people I hand stuff off to all the time. I'm not getting involved in that dark stuff. It's just not for me.
Yeah, me neither.
My niece Nicole, she said, "Hi, Uncle Al."
She did. Protect the equipment. Interesting. It's true. I mean, if you think about it, I always say this all the time, and people get freaked out at Ouija boards and stuff. I used to until I saw a lecture with Bob Murch, and he totally changed my mind because, a Ouija board or any type of equipment you're using is no different than using a Ouija. The electrical equipment is just an electrical version of a Ouija board to me. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I know.
Still using a device to try to communicate. So. I think, protecting the equipment. Yeah. Shadow people. Halbands, Mothman. So today I was at the store and I literally saw a moth the size of my head. I said, that is a mini Mothman. Yeah, but Mosquito Man? No.
No, get out of here, Dave.
No.
Get out of here.
I saw a cowman spirit with red eye shine. I've never heard of that.
Must be an island thing, Rich.
No, really, really wants to go around with you. He said he'll give you money.
No, I don't charge for my services, bro.
I know what it is, just not sure about the disembodied part of it. And that's fair. I mean, everybody has the right to that.
Yeah, just look it up. I mean, it's not something hard to find. When you look up the word Nephilim, and you'll get like 6 million different things that come up. It'll tell you all about them and how they came about and the whole history of that stuff, the watches and the fallen angels.
Project Paranormal wants to know about your Bigfoot experience.
Which one?
So do you remember the first time? How about we do the first time
it was
and then
burnt
the
in my memory forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first time, was down in South Florida. I was 1974. I was down there with my cousin Anthony. We were visiting my sister and her husband Joe. It was like our summer camp. My parents would send us down there, and Joe would have us do all the work around the house, while he was at work. And one night we were hanging out, and my brother-in-law had 2 big German shepherds, and the dogs. All of a sudden, we caught a whiff of something really bad, and the dogs went absolutely Comanche, and I had to put them in the garage because I didn't want to wake the whole house up. And so the next day, we mentioned it to my brother and my sister, and my brother-in-law, and my sister, and he said, "Oh, that's just the skunk ape, the Florida skunk ape." And we started laughing, like, yeah, skunk ape. What the hell is a skunk ape? We never heard of a skunk ape. Well, we know, when we were kids. I'm 12. My cousin Anthony's 15, and we're thinking, we both know Bigfoot, right? We seen the Patty video, and we always thought it was out in the Pacific Northwest. And they said, "Oh no, it's the Florida skunk ape. It's the Florida version of Bigfoot." And we're like, "Yeah, okay, Florida version of Bigfoot," And then one night we're hanging out. Wee hours of the morning, watching, the Don Kirshner's rock concert back in the day, hanging out. And we went to bed, and we're laying in this sitting room, and my sister had this giant picture window. It was humongous. And we're sleeping in this queen size bed. And we had just got to bed, and she had sensor lights around the house, a circular driveway with a fountain in the middle. And all of a sudden, the lights go on outside, like something's walking through the yard, and we see this giant shadow walk across the wall. So I jump down out of the bed, and I crawl over like a little army crawl to the window, and I peek out to see what's out there. And man, I can't. What I seen looked like King Kong to me out there. Okay, wow. And this thing must have seen its reflection in the glass. And it did this like incredible Hulk flex and scream. And my cousin Anthony was just frozen with fear. And I was petrified. And I thought he'd seen me peeking out the window,
That's what I was going to say. Did he see you or he?
No, he must have seen himself, because I was like down in the corner, And right. Then he walked around the side of the house, one of the sides of the house. They were just building this development. It was a 4-mile development, one giant square. And it walked around the side of the house. So we ran into the bathroom on that side of the house. We kept the lights off so we could see out. And as it came around that corner, the lights went. And my sister had a 6-foot fence that went around the front of the house and around the back, but not the driveway area, just from the side of the house out. And that's how I came to the conclusion that thing was about 9 feet tall, because it was head and shoulders above the 6-foot fence. So then we followed it out it went out to the back. We followed it out to the patio. And again, once it got to the backyard, the back sensor lights went on, and it squatted down. And the whole time it was walking past the house, it was looking at us like it could see us. Mm-hmm. Even though we had the lights off, tinted windows, tinted screen, it was looking at us like it could see us. And it went down, and this was in South Florida, Abe. It was a town called Davie, Florida. It was right on the outskirts of the Florida Everglades, and it started scooping up water. It was drinking the water, mm-hmm. and then it walked off into the swamp. So the next day, when everybody got up, we told my brother-in-law, and he came out, and we seen the footprints. The footprints were huge, and he's like, "Okay, I'm going to come home at lunch. We're going to cast them. I'm going to put them up on the bar." He wanted 2 footprints for the bar, and but we had a horse farm down the street from us that did trails through the swamp, and they used to drive right by our house. So when they came by after lunch, they destroyed the footprint, so we could never cast them.
Oh no.
Yeah, so, but we used to hang out in the swamp and ride our dirt bikes and have bonfires out there. And then when this thing started going off one night and it just started screaming, and we didn't go out there anymore. And
Hey, I don't blame you.
then one night we were all sitting at my brother owned an Italian restaurant. He came home from the restaurant with a couple of pizzas, and we were all sitting in the patio in the back eating some pizza like at 12 o'clock at night. And the guy with the horse ranch, he had this wild stallion that he had just gotten from like Wyoming or Montana or somewhere, but he couldn't put him in the stalls with the rest of the horses because it would kick and it would freak all the other horses out. He had this Native American Seminole Indian. He would come every day to ride to break the stallion. So he had it out in the corral. Now this thing must have creeped up on this horse and grabbed it from behind.
Oh no.
When it did, the horse must have kicked out, jumped the corral, ran into the pasture. At this point, the horse rancher hears all the commotion. He comes out, and he's all of a sudden you hear bang, 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 like a 30-30 going off, you know? So we jump on our dirt bikes and we would head over there because the horse rancher's son was one of our friends. We hung out with him. And we went over there and he's telling us, yeah, the damn skunk ape was here to try to kill our horse, you know? So the next day, the sheriff came, the Native American came, brought out to the pasture, brought the horse back. When he brought the horse back, the horse had handprints in its hindquarters. Like if you grab yourself on the wrist and you hold real tight, that's what it had on the horse's hindquarters. So the sheriff said, okay, we're going to have to start picking up the patrol in the area because this place has been pretty active because we were surrounded by canals. We were in dead swamp. So then a couple of weeks go by. It was around the 4th of July, something like that. And my sister and my brother-in-law took some friends out from New York. They had flown down, and they went out to Miami for a night out. Me and my cousin Anthony babysitted the kids, and just seen an orb fly by my head in the back.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. And we're babysitting the kids, and they get home late, like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. And they say, hey, any action tonight? We said, no, the neighborhood's pretty quiet tonight. No sooner than we say that, we hear this blood-curdling scream. We didn't know what it was. It was horrifying, okay?
Right.
And all of a sudden, up the street from us was a cattle rancher. And he had this Brahma bull, this big white Brahma bull with a hump in its neck. It was a beast. Had to be like 1,500 pounds, right?
Wow.
And he starts shooting with his shotgun. Boom, boom, right? So we jump in my brother-in-law's car, and my cousin Anthony jumps in. He's got a shotgun. I'm in the back. I'm hanging out of the moonroof. And as we come out of our block, the deputy sheriff is just passing by. He's cruising real slow. He's got the light out. He's looking to the left because that's where the swamp is. And you can see another car like at the other end of the development, like 4 miles away, which was the sheriff, you know, but he was so far away. So we're following the deputy at 10 miles an hour. Everybody's looking left because that's where the spotlight is. This thing comes out of the darkness from the right, and the police car hits it.
Oh my goodness.
This thing goes down. It takes down like a stop sign or something. And a police car looked like it hit a telephone pole. It just stopped dead. So we stop behind it. I'm hanging out of the sunroof. This thing gets back up, limps over to the police car, looks straight into the car, and gives this blood-curdling scream that just vibrates your chest, just resonates through you from your toes to your head. And it does this hammer punch on the front of the police car. Police car comes off the ground in the back, limps off into the woods. My brother-in-law had the high beams on, so you know it was like watching a movie in front of you. And the sheriff comes racing down the street and sees the car totaled, and he's like, "What the hell happened?" And the deputy's telling him, and he's taking our statements because we're witnesses to it, for the insurances and stuff. And he's like, "Well, why didn't you shoot it with the shotgun?" Because back in those days, the shotgun, they used to keep it right between them on the seat, And he told the sheriff, he said, "No, the shotgun wasn't big enough, And at that point, the cattle rancher comes up in his pickup truck. He's telling the sheriff, "You got to come to the farm. You got to see what that damn skunk ape did to my prize bull." Now, I'm thinking, what could this thing have done to this bull? I used to jog that 4 miles every day. I used to run past that bull all the time. As a matter of fact, one time I got chased by a Cujo kind of dog, and I had to jump over the fence into the pasture and work my way around the cows to get out. Meanwhile, the bull is watching me. So I know how big this bull is. It was a monster. So anyway, we follow the sheriff down to this guy's house. He puts the spotlight out into the pasture, and there's this giant Brahma bull bleeding out with no head.
What?
So he shines no head. Shines the spotlight across the pasture, 100 yards away. There's the head. This thing ripped the head right off this bull and just threw it away. And
so it just killed just to kill, like he didn't.
Well, I guess the bull was attacking it because of the cows, and it was in the pasture. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what bulls do. If you go in the pasture, they protect the cows. You know, and they called in the state police, and they came with horses and helicopters and dogs, and I mean, it was the state police, the county police, the town police. Everybody was there, and they searched high and low, and they never found anything. Once the thing got into the swamp, it was gone. And that summer, there was a lot of fires in Florida that year in the Everglades, because it was a drought, and it was pushing all the animals inland. And that's what we think actually drove this thing inland. The fires in the swamp drove this thing inland, you know? And I mean,
sad. I would like cry my eyes out.
I was like just frozen, you know, like, oh my God, this thing is like right there, you know? And it was and humongous.
You guys you didn't hear the bull, like?
We heard the bull scream. That blood curdling scream was the bull having its head ripped off. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like that. Just like that. I mean, if you would have told me that before it happened, I would have said, there's no way in God's green earth, because the bull was so big. But yeah, I mean,
even a small bull, like, you know what I mean? Like even anything to, you know, for something to be able to rip something else's head off, you know what I mean? Like you have to have some strength.
Yeah, strength is incredible. Yeah, I mean, it was crazy that year. And then right after we left, we flew back to New York. There was another rancher who was good friends with my brother-in-law, and he had one of his ponies killed. And when they killed the pony, it stepped on a nail out of the corral, and it was leaving a blood trail, and they got a posse together, and they went and they hunted this thing down. But again, once it got to the swamp, it was just gone. Yeah, just.
Did you ever? What about the bleeding? Like there was no blood left behind, or?
Well, I mean, you mean like I don't think the creature was injured at all.
Oh, I thought you said
when this was a different thing happened, where like a couple of weeks later, at a different part of like a couple of blocks over in a different part of the development, like the next development over, this guy had a horse ranch, and he had a pony, and his pony was killed. But I guess when this thing broke into the barn, it stepped on a nail, and it left a blood trail, and they followed the blood trail back into the swamp, because they were going to just kill this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, well, that's what I was going to say. They didn't did they take like a sample of the blood that?
This is 1974. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
South Florida was rural. I mean, it was a cowboy town. The biggest thing that happened there on the 4th of July was the rodeo. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Yeah, no, nobody was taking any blood. There was tons that whole summer. There was tons of reports in the news. There was tons of reports on the radio, in the newspaper. And I don't know, the next day we got up and we went to the local Winn-Dixie, which was like the local A&P, you know, and to get like 3 or 4 newspapers, because we thought there would be all kinds of stuff about it. And there wasn't anything written up about our incident. And I don't know why they didn't write anything up. But it was like it never happened. But that whole summer, all we seen was stuff going on, like, you know, cops being interviewed. Sheriff was like doing a speed trap as something came up to the back of his car and picked up the car and dropped it. You know what I mean? So that whole summer was crazy down in South Florida.
Why do you think it was just that summer?
Because of the fires. I think because of the fire.
Oh, that's right. You
Drove
said
the creatures
all
out
creatures.
of the Everglades. Yeah.
Gotcha.
They were coming
That's
in.
right.
And like I said, this town, when I say this town, when I say it was a town, I mean it was right on the edge of the northern part of the Everglades. It wasn't like Miami or something like that. You know what I mean? So it was very rural.
Well, wait a minute. There was one above that. I'm sorry, Todd. I'll get your question next. I didn't see it. I apologize. He said, "Do you think the skunk ape type are in other states as well, or it is its own in Florida?" I thought, like, isn't that just another name for Bigfoot, or like, because I thought
Yeah,
Sasquatch
that's all it
is
is.
Bigfoot. Okay.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just a local name that they gave it down in South Florida. You know, skunk ape, because it's got a horrible smell. I mean, when you smell it, it's just, it's a smell that you'll never forget. You know.
Todd wants to know.
Yeah, what did Todd say?
If you ever had an experience with an interdimensional.
Whew, tough question, because it depends on what you consider interdimensional.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. I mean, I personally think like the Sasquatches and the Dogmen are interdimensional. You know, I think there are aliens that are extraterrestrial and interdimensional. So, I don't know how to answer that. Yes and no. Oh, I don't know.
Abe said he would find tail. It's so sad. I hate when things, that's why I can't watch the Skinwalker Ranch stuff.
Well, there was only like one time where they had cattle mutilation. So, just if you bypass that episode, you'll be okay.
Did him and Cuz all right, so I'm gonna try to did him and Cuz tell ranchers,
Ranchers,
I'm sorry, what they saw that might be before everything happened? I take it all the law enforcement officers knew what it was.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knew what it was. There was nobody was surprised about what was going on in South Florida that summer. All the local law enforcement knew what it was. Like I said, they were interviewing state troopers on TV. It seemed like every day there was another interview where, this trooper seen it run across the road, or this trooper was in the speed trap and the thing picked up the back of its car. He scared the hell out of him and he got the hell out of there. No, as a matter of fact, if you go to my I have a thing on the BFRO website called the Florida Skunk Ape thing, and the woman who put it together for me, I can't pronounce the last name, but she put a whole thing together on my site. Go look up 1974 Florida. She has the whole development there, and then she's got pictures and newspaper articles from that whole summer from all the local. She grew up in the next town over from where it happened. So she's got pictures and all kinds of news articles from all. Her uncle was a cop, and they had a special book that they used to write the Bigfoot things in. Like people would call and say it's a black person peeping in my window, and the cops would go there, and it was a skunk ape, and they had a special book for that kind of report because it didn't go on the regular reports. Yeah. A lot of stuff in that report. If you go look it up in Florida, she did a hell of a job. She put together an amazing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking, like you're either like what Todd said earlier, you're either lucky or you're cursed. I don't know how I would handle. I think literally, I mean, I've been paranormal researching and investigating, spirits or the spirit world or whatever you want to call it. I say on every show almost, us as humans, have to label everything, so everything has to have this label.
Yes.
So really, what is it that we're seeing? What is it that we're looking at? What is it that we're, I mean, I don't even know if we're ever going to 100% for sure know what it is. Can there be another dimension? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And if that's true, when they cross into, other dimensions, do they shapeshift? Do they try to fit in maybe, and then it doesn't look like, does an albino, what's the one, forgive me, but it's like a white, it looks like, everybody claims it looks like a big huge white deer, but it's not, because it gets up on it can stand up. I don't know if
You're talking about a Wendigo? A Wendigo?
I don't know who it's a cryptid. So I don't know.
A Wendigo is not a cryptid. It's a
No, I
Native
don't think that's
American,
what it is.
a Native American demon.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's what it is.
Well, Wendigos are the ones with the deer antlers. That's what you're describing.
Yeah, I agree. They ever placed dead animals in your path where you walked or jogged?
I have a gifting spot going on right now where I was gifted a deer's head with antlers. I've been gifted a turtle shell. And one time the turtle shell was actually upside down, like almost like a bowl, and there was two dead moles in it. Like they were giving me these dead manimals, like for food, I guess. I don't know. I got this gifting spot going on. I'm having all kinds of stuff going on there. It's crazy.
Yeah, see, I've never experienced anything other than, and like I said, I've been investigating. I went through training and extensive training, I might add, like 4 months to do the paranormal investigating. And when I say paranormal, like now I know that everybody links everything kind of together, in the same circle. But for me, it's
just ghost. You're a ghost hunter.
Yeah. For the
now, let me ask you a question. When you go ghost hunting,
yeah.
Do you go strictly new school, or do you go old school, new school, or just strictly? I do both. I go old school, new school. How do you go?
So I'm not a big fan of equipment that is made for ghost hunting.
Okay.
I prefer myself. I have a recorder because I rely heavily. I'm also clairaudient, so I could hear disembodied voices. Not 100% of the time. This past weekend was awesome because I was I don't know, I could hear a lot more than I normally can hear, could hear, but it was also getting confirmed on the recorder. I would hear it and I would say it. And then when we would listen back, you could hear it. And I would say, somebody just said, you know what I mean? So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
But I'll bring a camera. I'll bring a recorder.
Okay.
Sometimes, because I need to understand a piece of equipment in order to use it. And there's a lot of times that it can't be explained 100% to me.
That's okay.
So it's hard for me to trust, like stuff that is man-made.
Okay.
To try to detect the spirit world, which we don't even know what we're looking for. Like, we don't know. I mean, we have hundreds of years of research, which I'm not saying anything bad about that. I mean, thank God, right? Because we
absolutely
where we are right now. But I prefer old school. I'll throw baby powder on the floor.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
Use a compass.
I use a compass too. Absolutely. I got dowsing rods. I love my dowsing rods. Like quartz crystals, you know what I mean?
I mean, it's good to have a data logger, you know what I mean? Just so that you get what the humidity is, what the temperature was, what this was, you know what I mean? Something that can capture everything you need captured in an environment when you're doing it,
Absolutely. Those are easy, yeah.
All right, hold on. While I was yapping. I was gifted a full deer. It was gone the next day. Yeah, I heard, that's weird he says that, because even though this is the first time I'm hearing about like stuff like this. Not Bigfoot, obviously, but like all this other stuff, which I'm very happy to be hearing and I want to learn about it. But I've heard that though before, where there would be animals and you know what I mean? Like somebody would wake up and then all of a sudden it was gone.
Yeah,
I
I don't, when I gift, I like with this, when I'm dealing with the Sasquatches and I'm gifting, I don't gift food. I don't want them to associate me with food. I gift them toys, marbles, stuff like that, bells, whistles. I don't gift any kind of food. I just don't want to be associated as the food guy.
I vaguely remember those fires. Makes you wonder the increased amount of fires out west and what's up there. What will happen? The amount of fires in South Florida. And as you were saying the fires, I was thinking about Arizona. I was thinking about, not Arizona, Australia, and then California or Arizona when all those fires happen.
Yeah, California's on fire every year.
I know. It's
Yeah.
really sad. I'm like a huge animal lover.
Yeah, me too. Believe me, my backyard, you're going to come to my backyard. We got everything in my backyard. My wife feeds everything.
I literally
when I
save
say
flies in my house.
everything comes to my house to eat. Believe me.
Yeah, I like will try and save everything because I always tell people I'm one letter short of PETA. I'm just PETA.
Yeah, absolutely. No, us too. We're big animal people, so we love animals. It's just who we are.
They placed a baby. Oh God, is his name Abe or is it AB? Like
I call him Abe.
Okay.
It could be Abe.
He has a lot of sad animal stories.
Well, listen, you know what it is? Abe lives in Texas, so he probably lives on a ranch or something,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hanged. I would cry. I would call a priest. I would be like, I would call like law enforcement constantly. Like, there's people, because I would think that was something that was like maybe a cult or something, like, somebody like immaturely or not knowingly doing like animal sacrifices and stuff. You know what I mean? If I saw,
absolutely. Yeah.
Do you think, rituals. Do you think it's rituals? That's what popped in my head, but I would have thought it was like people like doing it because I've heard of, people that don't know what they're doing because, you can have, this is going to sound really bad. This isn't what I'm about, but I know that there are, Satanists that don't necessarily worship, the physical being of Satan, but whatever it is. But like, there's people that immaturely do things like that and think that they're supposed to sacrifice animals and stuff. You know what I mean? They'll go out in the woods and they do it's just as I'm sure they do with Bigfoot hunting or ghost hunting. You know what I mean? Like with everything.
No, because a blood sacrifice is the most highest sacrifice you could do when it's a blood sacrifice. But I don't think it's rituals, Rich. I think it's just it's just what they do. You know what I mean? If you're in the same area as them and you guys are sharing the same property or whatever, and you start leaving them gifts, they'll start leaving you gifts. Like they want to live in peace or whatever.
Is there a battery out that they can't drain yet? I heard this happens a lot in paranormal investigations. Yes, it does. We always bring extra batteries, but I don't know.
That I know of. There's no batteries that I know of that can't be drained. No, Dave.
And Abe said he took that as a warning. I mean, I would too, and I probably moved to a totally different state.
It depends on what was going on the property at the time, I would say.
What? Carcasses in trees? Like, could that have been like an animal? Another animal, like a leopard or something? Or somebody, one of them big cats?
No, there's no leopards in North America, no. I found
It's so true. It's so true.
I've found a deer carcass up in the tree. I found like a 175-pound buck about 50 feet up in a tree, slaved, and the tree was like it was the shape of a fireman's pole. There wasn't any branches on it, so it's not like there were no claw marks on the tree. It's like something threw this thing over his shoulder, shimmied up a tree, and then threw it over the branch for later.
Max is asking, so Al, did the Florida summer start you on this path, or did something else start it as a young adult? He must have missed the very beginning.
Honestly, I wasn't allowed to talk about this when I got back from Florida because my cousin Anthony was bigger than me, and he said, if you tell anybody, I'm going to kick your ass, because my family likes to break everybody's chops, and if I would have told my brother, it would have got around the whole family, and then we would have been ridiculed, and my cousin would have kicked my ass. So I kind of forgot about it. I put it off, and then my brother wrote a book, Frank Santariga, Paranormal Family and Friends.
Oh, that's right.
And,
yeah.
And he asked me if I had any, stories, and I was like, yeah, I got some stuff. And he was like, well, why didn't you tell me? Because Anthony was going to kick my ass, you know what I mean? So I wasn't going to say anything,
Here's a question. Hi, Darren. What do you fear the most of the paranormal?
I don't fear anything.
You're not afraid of anything?
The only thing that would scare me, honestly, is demonic shit, and I don't deal with that. So,
oh yeah.
Other than that, I don't go into any investigation with any subconscious fear. I just won't allow myself to do it. If I have any doubts about going in, I don't do it. Before we do any of our investigations, no matter what investigation it is, we have our psychic read the energy of the area, and she lets us know who can go, who can't go, or if we should just. We had an experience. We were planning here's a good story. We were planning to do an investigation at these old ammunition depots in Rockland County, New York. The place is called Ramapo. It used to be an old Indian settlement, Ramapo, New York. And we were going to do these investigations there, because they have these giant depots built into the mountain where they used to have ammunition for World War II. And we were going to go, and the psychic called me up and says, what do you guys got planned? And I was like, why? She goes, I seen the most craziest thing the other night when I was in my dream. And it's got to, because whenever she has a crazy dream, it's always got to do with us. And she's like, what? So we were telling her, what we were planned on going to do to investigate. And she says, don't go. And I said, why? She says, I seen something that was demonic. She said it was a demon, but it looked like a human with a deer head. And I was like, are you talking about a Wendigo? And she goes like, what the hell is a Wendigo? So I sent her some photographs of a Wendigo, and she goes, that thing followed me to my house.
I wouldn't even go to my house.
And well, she was in her bed sleeping, but she was like out of body.
Oh.
And she was there checking out the location for us. And in her dream, it followed her back to her. So she had to cleanse her house to get it out. But she said, listen, don't go. It's dangerous for you guys to go. Hey, Jolene. And she said, don't go. And we never went because she warned us not to go. So we didn't go. I heed her warnings. She's 5th-generation psychic. She's Native American.
Yeah, I mean, you have people that you trust, you have to trust your gut. I mean, Darren says, if you come across a full body apparition, who would you want it to be and why?
Jimi Hendrix. I'd love to meet Jimi Hendrix.
Interesting. It's interesting.
If not Jimi Hendrix, Tesla will do.
It's interesting that you, because for me, I've chosen or I've tried to avoid the negative side of things with this. Obviously, even just regular ghost hunting. You open up the doors for whatever. So we always have to make sure that we protect ourselves and that we only let in things that come from love and light, higher power. This and that. But the demonic side of it, there's rules, right?
There's rules for everything. Yeah.
There's rules, and they have to abide by those rules. So that is it's easily, not easily, I take that back, but you can get rid of it. Whereas spirits, they have free will. Human spirits have free will. They can come and go as they please. So if they're tormenting, they're going to torment. You just have to try to give a client or whoever you're dealing with, the tools to try to set boundaries and quiet it down and this and that. But then, you have these things that you're seeing that can rip bulls' heads off and this, that, and you're not afraid of that, right?
No,
You're not
absolutely
afraid of
not.
saying
No,
that's
no.
the
Well,
shadow.
the locations that we have like 5 hot spots, and our locations, we've been dealing with these creatures for a long time, and I was told by other psychics that they speak to me telepathically, but I don't always hear them because my mind is too busy. But I like I'll be drawn somewhere, and I'll just be drawn to go, 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 and I don't know why. And I go there and I find stuff, and it's because I was told that they are drawing me there to find stuff. But we have a couple locations that when I tell you, when you go there, the energy is so calm and peaceful. Like you could sleep under the stars at these locations and not worry about anything bothering you, because
Right.
when these guys come down, we have a couple of little rituals that we do to bring them in. But I was told they know the minute I walk in there from my frequency or my vibration. Yeah, you
Okay.
know, and so they know who I am. I always say they tolerate me, and when they're ready for us to leave, like if they want to go hunting and they're ready for us to leave, they let us know.
Don't.
And when they let us know, we leave. You know, we don't push them. You know, I don't want to do anything to aggravate. You know, something that's 9 feet tall. You know, 1,500 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't blame you. So there's a lot of questions here, and
Wow.
unfortunately, we're almost out of time. I can push it a little bit, but basically, so I want to say this because we just said it, but no, wait, not that one. Sorry, Darren. Hold on. Todd. Here. What rules are you talking about? Were you talking to me about rules?
Well,
there's
universal rules that everything has to follow. You know what I mean? Just like evil and good, there are rules that belong just to them. There are universal rules that are out there that everything has to follow a certain rule. That just don't do whatever the hell they want. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Oh, hi, Deanna.
They are negative. She thinks that she saw a documentary on the Goat Man. I think that's who. Well, maybe that's what I was talking about. That people.
You were talking about a Goat Man. Okay.
Yeah. That's I couldn't remember.
Yeah, the jury's out on a Goat Man. Some people think it's a cryptid. Other people think it's like a demonic entity. Honestly, I've never seen one. I don't know what it is one way or the other. You know,
it's okay, Darren. He said sorry. He has a lot of questions, and he said sorry, got here late. It's okay.
Just to what you call it. Hit me up on Facebook. I'll answer your questions. No problem.
He says, "Do you believe in holy water?" I think that depends on what you believe in religiously wise. If you do believe in a religion or not, you know what I mean. I think that depends on the person. But do you?
Yeah, I use holy water. I carry holy water and holy oil on me, as well as white sage and salt, and stones, different kinds of stones. I got all kinds of stuff on me when I go out, and I still get attachments, but the attachments I get are not dark. They're just something that's attracted to my energy and attaches itself to my energy, and then we have to, when I leave, it leaves too.
Tom is agreeing. He said, "You are right. Our frequency and vibration are keys to cryptid and paranormal activity." Okay. Do you think lots of the activity is from native curses, Bigfoot, Dogman, shapeshifters, and skinwalkers?
I think skinwalkers and shapeshifters may have to do with native curses. I don't believe that the Bigfoot or the Dogmen do. I think they're their own breed, for lack, or hurt people for lack of definition. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know why. Like, they seem to go after like whatever's out there, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it is a person or if it is something that is unexplainable. Again, I've only had personal experiences with the other side, the life after, so
Yeah.
I've never seen a UFO. I've never came in contact with a Bigfoot, nothing, no cryptids that I know of, you know what I mean? Or anything like that. It's always just been what I believe to be on the spirit side of things. So, for me, I don't even know where the hell I was going with that.
How about shadow men or hat men? Have you ever seen any of those?
Shadow people?
Yeah.
Yes, I have seen shadows,
Okay.
or what would look like a shadow person or whatever.
Okay.
But I've never. I take that back. I did see something one time at Penhurst Asylum that what looked like, if you remember, if you've ever saw Predator. So you remember when
Sure.
Predator was in the jungle and he was kind of like liquidy clear, that like see through. I saw something that looked like that.
Okay. That's
So
interesting.
yeah, I've seen that, but I've never really seen anything else. Like I said, I can hear. I don't know what I'm hearing, but I'm also getting it onto a recorder that I am hearing it. You know what I mean? But prior to listening back.
Yeah, right. The recorder is validating it. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So what am I hearing? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's all intelligent, answers questions, whatever is, where is it coming from? I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever know.
No, I don't think we'll ever know.
I mean, even with the cryptids and the Bigfoots, and you know what I mean? Like there's people out there that I respect that I know that research all this stuff,
Right.
and have had experiences, and I just never have. But I respect what everybody else does. I mean, I feel like it only helps all of us, you know what I mean? To hopefully get, a couple steps further, in this whole game, if we all can just kind of keep getting along.
Yeah, no, that's the problem. We went when we started. We were just the Bronxville Paranormal Society, right? But because of all of my different experiences, we covered everything. But then when you start going to symposiums and people start getting bent out of shape, what's the ghost hunters talking about the Bigfoot? What's the Bigfoot people talking about UFOs? You know what I mean? So we had to branch off and create all these different groups, like the New York State UFO Project and the New York State Sasquatch Organization. It's still all the same guys, you know what I mean? It's just we study this way when we go to a symposium and we got our Bigfoot, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the reason why we did all of that stuff, just to not fight with anybody.
I have to give a shout out. This is Dr. Molnar. He is a physician, and he actually he's Haunted MD. He's been named Haunted because he, at his job, he can work 7 days and then he's off 7 days. I had him on the show and he explained when he's off on those 7 days, he'll go out with other groups locally in his area and does paranormal investigations. Like he's very into it, and I love his research, love what he does. But he wants to know what your thoughts are on all paranormal things being linked together. And we did talk about this, but he says UFOs, Bigfoot, ghosts are being tied together.
Yeah, there's a common thread there. I don't know if it's frequency or vibration or what it is, but hey, Doc, get me into one of those hospitals. I want to do a haunted hospital.
I know. I mean, he had some really good. He had some really life. Like as soon as a patient would pass, like the experiences that he would go through and stuff like that, like with the person crossing over or not. I mean, he had some really good. Things to add and stories to tell.
Yeah, I only had one premonition my whole life, and that was the night my father died. So I mean, my mother was a whole different story, though.
Abe, thank you so much for your service in the military. I'm a very patriotic person, and I love our military. I support our military, our police, and all of our first responders, and anybody that. All right. I think I got through a lot of them. But anybody's got any questions, just hit me up on Facebook and I'll answer them for you. Now,
best
do
I
you have
can.
a page or just your name? Like it's just your personal page that people can message you?
You could message me personally, or you can go to the Bronxville Paranormal Society. You could go to the New York State UFO Project. You could go to the New York State Sasquatch Organization. You could go to the North American Dogman Project, New York State Chapter. Any of those 5 pages, you could hit me up on. I'm always popping around in and out of them. But you can hit me up directly if you want. I'm easy.
Yeah. No, yes. I mean, me and you, we hit it off right away. And I love this. I love this whole StreamYard thing. I mean, it's because of COVID, it was very hard to do the show, you know, and then all of a sudden this thing comes out and I feel like I meet people, you know, this way. And then when I meet you actually in person, I feel like I've known you forever already. Or I'm catching up with friends that I haven't seen in a while, but you know, I'm very appreciative that you came on, gave me your time for an hour, and everybody that joined us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for everybody.
Yeah, thank you for all the great questions, because I, you know, like I said, never have experienced any of this stuff. I have no idea. Like there's a lot of things that I heard tonight that I've never even knew existed or was out there. So I appreciate everybody's input in questions.
Yeah, we didn't know. I didn't know where this was going tonight. I didn't know which road we were going to go down. So
Never.
said, you know,
It's always a surprise on here.
It is like, what it is. Yeah. Listen, you got to get my partner Brian Bowden on your show, and you got to get Miss Ada or Miss Aida. I think she pronounces her name Aida. She's a hoodoo priestess.
Yes.
You got to get her on. She's
hoodoo.
Phenomenal.
I do.
She's phenomenal. I love her. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to have somebody on that research and practices hoodoo. I would love to hear about it.
She could tell you shit, man. It'll blow your mind.
That's awesome. No, that's awesome. Please, give me her name again. Like
Absolutely.
when we, just message me and but thank you for coming on. I mean,
pleasure was all mine. Anytime.
This was
hit
great.
Me up if you ever want to do this again.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Yeah, totally. Come on again and we'll catch up, and hopefully by that time you'll be able to talk about the Travel Channel thing and, you know, and
tomorrow we're shooting another documentary tomorrow. So, but it's another UFO thing. It seems like the last 3 documentaries we shot were all UFO related. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Al. I'll be in touch with you.
My pleasure.
We're friends all over. So, you know, thank you so much. And thank you, everybody. And Al, I will message with you, you know, about your friend coming on, because I would really love to get her on.
Yeah, and my partner too. Yeah, you got to get him on too. Thank you for everybody for showing up tonight. And thank you for all the great questions. It was an absolute pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Ciao.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. What a good show. I loved all the questions. This was something new for me. So it was great. Next week, I have Duo Demonology coming on. If you guys watch my show regularly, I've had them on a lot. They are 2 men that, you know, are, you know, fall in the priesthood somewhere. And then they also help people with demonic cases, and they're very knowledgeable, but they take the approach from an old school type of a place and research, and they're very interesting. So I hope you guys join me next week for Duo Demonology. And I'm booked up till September, so we have guests every week. So everybody just join me again. Thank you so much, everybody. Good night.